The topic of today is going to be how much to expect to spend at your first dog show. Yesterday there was some, or not yesterday, but this past weekend, there's people that didn't think it was going to be as pricey as it was. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you this off the bat. If you're just going to a local show, you want to have at least $350 in your pocket. Bare minimum, you want to have $350 in your pocket. Okay? And that's if you're going there with one dog, two dogs. You know what I mean? Off the back, just to get into a show, I've gone to shows. Rumble in the Jungle is about $80 a person, right? It's $80 a person. You go out west, the Bully Expo, same thing. You see what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. What's up, Linda? So with that being said, that's just entry. So if you're bringing your significant other, or a kid, usually kids are free. But you got to be prepared for this shit, man. You got to be prepared for it. I don't recommend going to a show with less than $350. That's a local show. That's not included. If you're driving out of state, it's going to be more. But I'm going to dig into why, just going to a local show, why you want to go there with $350. You know what I mean? For one, just to get in, you're going to average probably about $100 if it's you and somebody else. You know what I mean? Now, if you want to get to showing your dogs, let's say you just do the sanction show, that's typically going to run you $25 per each show. So if you go to a show, usually they have two, sanction shows in one venue, right? Sometimes they have more, but just those two, that's another $50. That's $100 just for you to show your dog right there. Now you're already, that's $50. Now you're at $100. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, food. You know what I mean? You're going to buy food at the venue, water, snacks. You know what I mean? All that stuff adds up. Plus, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see something at the show that's going to catch your attention, that you're going to be like, you know what? Hey, I really could use this. Lord forbid you forget a bowl at home. Now you're paying the show tax for real to get a new bowl. You know what I mean? That bowl might only be $5, but you got to spend $25 on it. Not 25, but like a dub on it, because you don't got one. So what are you going to do? Not give your dog water? You know what I mean? Like Jack just said, $1K a weekend. Like, come on, man. And right now, Jack, bro, we're talking about going just to a local show. I feel like bare minimum, you need to have $350 in your pocket. Bare minimum, that's probably what you're going to spend. You know what I mean? That's cutting it tight. That's really not even being able to enjoy yourself. And I get it, taking care of these dogs, everyday life, it ain't cheap, bro. But this is just things that y'all need to know. Now, let's say you're going out of state. Let's say, just to go from Minnesota to the player ball that's typically in Illinois, right? We're going to spend about $250 on gas, right? And I got a Honda for when we hit the road. I'm not bringing my Tahoe on the road like that, bro. Like, I'm just keeping it real. We're in the van, and that's going to run me $250, right? Hotel, another $125. Then you're paying for your fucking dog to get into the hotel, right? Which is normally about another $80. You see what I'm saying? We're damn near $500 in right there alone. Now, just getting into the venue, I got a gang of kids, bro. You know what I mean? That's not including food on the travel, actually. So you really want to add in like another $50 just on travels. We're at like $550 just for travel there. Now, you also got to be prepared. Tire could pop. You know what I mean? Anything could happen on the road. Now, you get to the venue, it's going to be probably about another $50 just for you and somebody else to get in, if not more, right? You see what I'm saying? Then you got to pay to participate in the show. That's not included if you want to do the fun show. You see what I'm saying? So you really, if you're going out of state, I think Jack said it the best. You want to at least have a band in your pocket. You know what I mean? That band's going to be gone. I'm talking about from when you leave the house to go to this show, you're probably going to spend about $1,000. No bullshit, you guys. And, this is just what y'all got to be prepared for. If this is really what you want to do, you got to spend money to make money. That's the best way I can say it. When you're going to these shows, there's a big difference between an online breeder and somebody that's doing this in real life. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking, because there's plenty of people who can sell dogs, or I'm sorry, You know what I mean? There's little rules. So, but there's plenty of people who can flip what they got going on, right? Without going to shows. To me personally, I noticed once I started going to shows is when I started being able to move my puppies the quickest. You know what I mean? I'm bumping shoulders with the right people. Who you know is going to get you further. You know what I mean? You might know somebody. I do it all the time. I help people out all the time. When I got people hitting me, hey, I'm trying to get a pup. The first thing I do is okay, look, how much do you ever spend? Okay, I'll make a post for you. I'll let you know if I know these people. You know what I mean? I can vouch for them. And I've helped a lot of people like that. Now, to get into the benefits of going to shows, not only is it showing your dog good, you know, trying to champ your dog out, bringing home ribbons, stuff like that, it is pricey. But to me, it's worth it. You know what I mean? You're showing that your dog is a top quality dog. You feel me? And it could compete in a very competitive market. Every second, there's another, not every second, but every day, there's at least a gang of litters getting born. There's probably 10 today. You know what I mean? If not more. So, you know, when you're going to these shows, you're showing you can compete in a market where it's like, you know, right now, it's through the roof. This ain't 2020 no more, you guys. This is not 2020. So, you know, everything you do, fast paced now. You know what I mean? It's sink or swim. Now, going to these shows, a reason to expect for it to be this expensive is you got to understand the show host. You got to put yourself in the show host's position. They're paying for the venue. They're paying for the registration to come in. They're paying for everything. They got to make their money back on the back end of everything too. So, you know, being ignorant about it ain't going to get you nowhere. You know, you can sit here and complain. Just don't go. Just don't go. You know what I mean? And that's something to really consider. We spent $30K last year for real. Hey, I believe it, bro. I believe it. I think 2024 we spent damn near close to that, at least 25. You know what I mean? And this is what people got to understand. And, you know, the reason I'm back doing these lives is because, for one, I can get back on live. Two, I feel like, you know, these topics are stuff that have to get discussed. We got to utilize the tools we have to educate the newer people, bro, or the people who ain't really in tune with all this. You know what I mean, bro? And that's the point of doing this. That's the point of doing this. Take a dog on a run like Master Grand Champion Gambit. You will spend facts. And, you know, back to the main topic though. You know, these show hosts, they spend a lot. They take a risk and they lose out. There's times where they lose out. We just got to call it for what it is. And that's as far as it goes for people trying to throw a show. Something to really understand, like, it's not easy. You got to salute the people that are throwing shows because they're really shaking the dice. You feel me? It's not as sweet as people think. It's definitely not as sweet as people think. Like I said, though, bare minimum in-state show, you want to have at least $300 in your pocket. At least $300 in your pocket. Any show is not free. If you want free, stay at home, support your people. For real, man. Mike ain't lying. It's not free. You know what I mean? If you're gonna complain about going to these shows and, oh, I spent this and that, you might not even take nothing home if you compete. Let's just call it for what it is. You know what I mean? Especially that first show, it might be a real whoa factor. It is for a lot of people. A lot of people have not seen a real dog with a whoa factor until they go to a show. But it's benefits to going to the show. You know what I mean? It really is. It really is. You know, hey, Linda, I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate you. I really do. I just met Linda this past weekend, you guys. She's a great lady, has a beautiful girl, beautiful family, really good people. And, you know, it costs to go to these shows, you guys. It really does. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, bare minimum in-state show $300, out-of-state show $1,000. And, you know, that's not including if you're flying to another state, it's going to be way more. It's going to be way, way, way more. You go to the jungle, you're probably going to spend at least $4 to $5. And I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm really just keeping it a buck. But you're promoting yourself. You're in a, like I said, you're in a competitive market. And when you go to these shows, you're meeting great people. A lot of people, you know, they're not going to gatekeep. You're going to meet people that get you in the right gate, meet the right people. You're going to understand, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go this direction. I want to go this direction with my program. You know what I mean? And that stuff y'all got to consider. That's the reason why going to shows are beneficial. You can see which way is things going, and you want to do that within your own lane too. Like, you know what I mean? You might not like a certain look, but you might like another look, and you just met these people that could have exactly what you're looking for. You know, look at Prospect, bro. He's spending chicken each week. I salute, bro, and I told him that in person, on the real. What up, Rob? I see you when you're dealing. What's good with y'all? But yeah, that's really the topic of the day today, you guys. I just wanted to make sure I jumped on. Like I said, all these lives will officially be back on YouTube. I said 500 minimum if I'm being cheap, but average around 700 to 1K per show comfortably. Yes. And that's somebody who is currently, you know, I'm not currently hitting the road like that no more. You know what I mean? Prospect truly is. Every weekend, he's walking them down. Bro, walking them down every weekend. You know what I mean? And you can't complain about this shit because there's benefits that come with it. It's really beneficial to go to these shows. Hey, you see what Jack just said? It cost him $2K just to go to the jungle. Just to get there. And I know Jack, and I know for a fact he probably went in there, probably had a booth. He spent more than that. You know what I mean? This is just minimum stuff. So, like I said, a local show, $300 minimum. You're going out of state, you're gonna spend at bare minimum $1,000, and that's not even a super far show. That's like a show that's maybe 2 states over. Anything further than that, you're spending more, and you can't complain about it. You know what I mean? You could go there. You could get hit by a car. All kinds of stuff could happen, bro. But that's the risk you're taking. That's the game that we're in a sense. I hate to call it a game because it's really not a game. But it's something you gotta know. It's something you gotta know. There is no feeling bad for yourself in these situations. Rob just said he only hits a show if he has something worth showing. Exactly. He knows, and you guys who don't know who Rob is, Rob's been in the game for a minute. He's been in, I'm a kid compared to bro. For real. I'm a kid compared to him. I've been in it for a minute. A lot of people know me. He's been in this longer than me. You know what I mean? And that's a fact. Hit him up. You know, that's another person who spits a lot of knowledge. You know, networking costs. Networking definitely costs. You got to pay to get far. You know, you got to invest into yourself, though. These dogs are not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're not just going to, you know, you can get lucky. I'm not going to sit here and say you can't. But your network is going to get you further than anything. And meeting these people who have done this longer than you and are currently still going or have been going, you'd be surprised the market. You'd be surprised if I showed my inbox how many people hit me up. A lot of y'all would be mind blown. There's a reason I had to turn my notifications off. I get calls. I don't even know these people. It's all love. I get people from the Philippines hitting me up. You know what I mean? Yup, Rob, I agree with you. If you want to see a certain dog, especially if you're considering, you know, using a stud, and you know, hey, they're going to be at this show, it's good to go. It's good to go. Go see them in person. It's these dogs are a lot different. You don't want to pull up to a stud and have them look completely different than how they do in their photos. I promise you guys. And you know, that's the point. Like I said, my goal is to be back doing 1 live a day. I'm gonna get back to really trying to push to just educate people. You know, we're bringing back the bullies and bullshit, you guys. Yup, people have definitely, people have a lot of different intentions on these shows. I mean, I feel like personally, when I go to a show, even when I was competing heavy, I would go there to compete and also to network. You feel me? I would go there to compete and network, because you can do both. It does get hectic, especially like lately I've been handling a lot of dogs, and I do feel like you should really be going to a show. You're gonna bump shoulders with the right people. I promise you. Everybody, one thing that we all have in common at these shows is we all are into dogs. You know what I mean? We might have different values behind our dogs, but we are all into dogs. And these venues these show hosts that are throwing these are bringing us all together. So I do hope that this educated some people that are watching the lives. It's really just free game, you guys. I'm trying to keep my lives nice, tight, and short. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody who did jump on. But yeah, that's to me, that's my breakdown on why it's important. And, really everything that we kind of went over today, the price of going to shows and what comes with it, what's behind it, to prepare for. So back, to break it down, 300 minimum for a local show, 1,000 for like a show that's like a state or two over, and then anything over that, you better be ready to spend $4,000 and up. You know what I mean? And that's just to be like, that's when I say these low numbers, it's not even being comfortable. That's like shitty hotels. You know what I mean? No oil change. Like, you feel me? Like you're gonna hit the road and take some risk. You got to be prepared for a tire to blow out. Maybe even two. I swear to God, when we went to Rumble in the Jungle for the first time, somebody hit our car in the parking lot. My Honda still has a big dent in the back of it. No bullshit, bro. I have a dent. You could tell it was somebody's bumper with a big ass truck that hit my car. You feel me? And these are the risks you got to understand you're taking. I mean, yes, I could probably pay the $3,000. I can pay the $3,000 to get it out. I'm not going to. It doesn't affect the way the car drives. But, you got to understand, going to show comes with risk. To me, there's a lot more benefits if this is something that you're seriously trying to pursue, especially if you don't have a name or nobody knows quite who you are. You should hit this road before you have your first litter. Invest into yourself by going to these shows. You know what I mean? Not just your stud and your bitch. Obviously those are off the back jumps, but invest into being seen. Get your face known. Let people know who you are. Show them that you're good business. That you're not just gonna take a deposit and get on. Yeah, Jack. Look, you heard what Jack said. Next year will be their 6th year. And finally, it's going to be next level. Hey, it's not a fast game, you guys. It's not a fast game. I can't even count on my hand how many people's done dropped out. You know what I mean? For real, I really can't. I can't count how many people dropped out. But I hope this helps educate everybody. I'm gonna jump off now. I appreciate everybody who tuned on. I'm gonna do another live tomorrow. Like I said, I'm back going live once a day. Once a day, I'm back going live until they block me again, because they took me out the game for a year. I appreciate everybody, y'all. I really do. I really do.